So I want to open this video up right now from the very beginning and just say, in regards to Tekken 8 Season 2 and all of the controversy, I've said it once, I've said it twice, and I'm going to say it a third time for the new people that might be finding the channel for the first time, that Tekken 8 is not designed for advanced, elite, or champion level players. It just isn't. Now, what this game is designed for, it is designed to be a game that is for predominantly low-level casual players. Now, I did have quite a viral video very recently that kind of blew up my channel to over 500 subscribers, which I'm greatly appreciative of, and I hope for continued success. But if you are new here and you did not see that video, I was basically speaking to the fact that Namco's current design decision centering on Tekken 8 is rooted in the intent of attracting more and more casuals into the ecosystem of Tekken. And I do mean the ecosystem, because if you actually stop and look at it, Tekken has been selling you a lot of things, right? You know, a lot of these little items in the Tekken Shop. Most of these items, for an OG like myself that's been playing the franchise for 30 years, a lot of these little knick-knack items I've seen and experienced in prior Tekkens, which I'm sure you have as well. You know, those items are basically primarily there for the newer players that never even known that they existed in prior games, because they're hoping to bring in players that have ideally never played a Tekken game before, or bringing over those players that Tekken 7 was perhaps their first Tekken. So Namco has a very clear mandate, you know, in effect. And I've said in that viral video that I believe that most of these changes were introduced very subtly, you know, in a very subtle way. Now, a person can argue that point and simply say, to counter me, that Namco was not thinking that far ahead. You know, when they introduced the whole rage mechanic, you know, that comeback mechanic, they did not think that far ahead. And you know what? I have to concede that as being a possibility. But what I seen during my competition days of Tekken 6 and seeing the characters like Bob and Lars, these were characters that were 1,000,000% brain dead autopilot characters. Okay, I can remember an Evo championship event where I believe the grand finals was a Bob mirror match. So, you know, these characters were definitely designed for the beginner level player. And if you were to apply some decent ability, those characters will take you far. And many of the people that have used those characters to win events, there was proof right there. Most of the players I can say about my own personal Tekken career, I lost to players that I knew 1,000,000,000% were not on my level, skill and tactfully, but because I had such an undying love to win with Lei, I wanted to represent Lei. I wanted to be known for this character, and I ended up being known, but I sacrificed that notoriety for championships and top 8 appearances at events, because many of the players I competed against, I was really playing against the character, maybe 70% the character and 30% of the player. Whereas for me using Lei back then, it was basically the opposite way. It was 70% player and 30% Lei, because I literally had to make Lei work and do the things I made him do, especially early on. But when I look at the trajectory that Tekken is on as a franchise, if you as a player on any level that has an issue or a grievance with Tekken 8's current direction, and you are hoping and you're holding out hope and faith, and you're like, please, Tekken gods, make it better. It's not. What you have right now is the culmination of several decisions that Namco has decided to implement over the course of quite a few Tekkens. We can argue which Tekkens, but definitely many of these changes were introduced over the course of time, resulting in the Tekken 8 game we have today. Now, I want to just say this also while it's still kind of early in the video and people haven't left yet. I figure I am willing to jump on anybody's live stream and discuss this with you and your audience. I have no problem doing that. In fact, I would welcome it. I would love to have a conversation with a guy like a Fiddy X or a Mike Hollow, a Main Man Swee, or anybody. It doesn't matter. I would love to have that conversation because I think a lot of the outrage, a lot of the disappointment, the frustration, I feel in my heart of hearts that much of this can be mitigated when you actually come to the realization and accept that this game was not designed for the advanced player. This game was designed, I'm going to come out and say it, for scrubs. I'm just going to call it what it is. Sorry if that rubs people the wrong way, but it is. And I'm going to fundamentally tell you right now why. I think this is where I would insert like a chapter transition, but I don't even know if I'm going to even do that. I'm just going off on this video right now. So buckle up. So, when you look at the comeback mechanics, I absolutely hate that shit. And I know none of those mechanics were designed for people like myself. As I've said in that very popular video I posted, my comeback mechanic was my own goddamn skill. If I just could not get it done, then I lost the round. I lost the match. I got taken out the tournament. It's on me. But now what you have rage arts, some bullshit ass move that, and I'm surprised more and more people don't talk about this fuckery. Like, you have a move, like let's break this shit down, okay? Because I know there's gonna be some people that will say, well, you shouldn't press buttons, and you just fuck out of here. I'm tired of hearing that shit because let's just call a spade a spade. You are beating your opponent senseless. You are the better player, especially in that particular round. And Namco, the mechanics of the game, gifts that player that is getting his ass handed to him a nuclear bomb that he can detonate at literally at any point in time. So you have a decision on whether or not do you continue your assault and finish the opponent off, or do you run the risk of having this person do a Hail Mary YOLO move that's going to take 50 to 60 damage from you, potentially causing him to take the round. That's just one facet right there. That was designed, one, to make the game appear more dramatic and more flamboyant and engaging for people at home watching on stream. Ooh, look at the comeback. Ooh. I know. I absolutely know. But I also know because of that, just using that one as an example, that right there told me 100% that this game was designed for fucking casuals. It was designed. Now, you have the other aspect of the simplified controls, right? When this game was initially marketed, I remember like it was yesterday. I remember watching the stream and seeing them have almost an entire section of them basically yapping about, oh, well, we have simplified controls and easy access, and you push a button and you can get a full combo. And I'm like, what is this shit? So right there, that's point number 2. So, and then let's get to point number 3. Everybody's favorite part, and this is full sarcasm. The dumbing down of specific character movesets. For instance, I'll just say right now, let's look at Law. I always like to use Law as an example because he's the easiest one to point out. Like, back in my time, I'll I'm saying the old man adage right there. Back in my day, when I would go to a tournament and I would see a law player, I can immediately see who is an elite law player, who is a champion law player, and who is like a casual, like somebody like they're pot monsters, probably their first tournament. I can see right in a very short span of time who is elite and throughout the different tiers of skill with a particular character. Now, it looks like anybody can fucking be a godlike law player. And I'm using that character as an example. You can apply that same logic to any fucking character in the game. The lines have been blurred. The lines between the low-level casual to a degree, right? You have to know a little something, especially if you're going to be in a tournament. But a lot of those lines have been blurred because the game, the designer, the developer has saw fit to make this game much more accessible. I mean, hell, you can go and look at very early live streams of Tekken 8 where I think you can probably be surprised how many times they use the word accessible. That's like, when I hear that word in gaming, it's like, okay, basically this is a nice way of saying dumbing down. Let's just, it's just dumbing down. It's like instead of saying retarded, you're saying mentally challenged. It's the same shit. You're just putting it in a nice way. You're putting a bow on it so you don't offend anybody. But let's call it what it is, okay? Because back in my time, I didn't even use the term casuals. I would just say scrub. It's like you're a scrub. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't know frame data. You're busy mashing buttons. You're getting, like, we can literally beat you using one move, and you're gonna be like, oh, how come you're just using one move? Because you're not blocking, because you're just pressing buttons. These are the players that Namco has realized that, contrary to what many of you may not be aware of, but these players pay a lot of money into Tekken. They go to the events. They may get one and done, but they'll go and buy from the Tekken Shop items that I've seen from Tekken 5, Tekken 6. I've seen these items. They will buy this shit. They will buy the full-on character pass without hesitation. They may not even use the characters, and they'll still buy it because they just want to do it. Like, they are 100% consumers. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. When we were all at one point low-level scrubs, or to make it easier on the ears, level 1 casual. We were all there. Even Arslan Ash was a scrub at one point. Nee was a scrub at one point, believe it or not. Okay? Everybody was a scrub at one point. The only thing is, whether or not you are going to remain at that level is up to you. Now, what Namco has done to kind of further hammer home the point is, Namco has given much more, I would say, efficient tools to help that low-level casual transition into being at least an advanced level player. And we are seeing this, okay? Well, I see it. And many of the people that have commented on my prior video have seen it. So I'm really directing this toward maybe the new person that's never heard of me at all. And this is your first time seeing my video. I am saying this to you, again, to reiterate that Tekken 8 was designed for the low-level scrub/casual player. That is 1000% fact. I will stake my life on it. It is not something that Harada nor Murray or anybody of the development team will openly say in public, because that would cause a fucking firestorm even beyond what's going on with the smaller yet more vocal hardcore audience. Currently right now, Namco and their development team of Tekken 8 are trying to keep the outrage to as a minimum as possible. They're trying to limit the damage, the collateral damage. They do not want this spilling over to the casuals. Now, I have heard people say, well, then why do they keep adjusting character balancing if they're just trying to aim it to casuals? The reason why they're doing that is precisely what I've just said just a few seconds ago. Namco realizes, and the development team realizes, that the hardcore audience, the hardcore market of a game or whatever is a very small market when compared to the much larger casual pool. This is a fact in many facets of business. However, it is still ideal to keep the hardcore players, the day one players, appeased to a degree. What I 100% disagree with, and I have said this in prior videos, that I believe that Namco decided to take too much of a heavy-handed approach. I believe that they went a little too far toward the casual. I think they could have done it just not too much of the extreme that they're going toward right now. And so it kind of makes you think, well, what's going to happen next? So let me give you what is it Paul Heyman says is not a prediction, it's a spoiler. So let me give you a spoiler. Namco are going to release more guest characters. And these guest characters, I can tell you, are going to come from potentially some very obscure games to try to tap into that particular game's audience. Much like they brought in Clive and Noctis back in, Noctis for Tekken 7 and Clive for Tekken 8, because they wanted to bring in potentially that Final Fantasy crowd that loved the protagonists of those respective Final Fantasy games, and it has fucking worked. Clive had fuck all to do with Tekken. That's a fact. That character, much like every other guest character that's brought into the franchise, was broken from day one. And then I made a video some time ago when they decided to patch Clive, and they patched that move forward 1+2 or forward left punch right punch called Prominence. And when I read the patch notes and saw that the only thing they did to that move was bring it from being safe at -9 to now being -12, but keeping all of its additional properties, I knew right then and there, with that slap on the wrist, I knew that that is the direction that Namco is predominantly going to go toward when it comes to future patches, when it comes to the nerfs and buffs of characters. Now, sure, I've heard many people bitch and complain about the Lei nerfs. Honestly, to kind of, because this is going to be a rant. If you haven't been able to tell so far, it's hard for me to sympathize with a Lei player, where I have been fighting this character for over 20 years, and that character has one of the most bullshit panic moves in the entire history of the Tekken franchise in back right kick or back four. A move where if it connects on counter hit, which it's not very hard to get a counter hit in Tekken. It's not that fucking complicated. Where that Lei can literally take you from New York to fucking Zimbabwe on any stage in the game. So it's kind of, and taking 100 damage, 90 to 100 damage. So it's kind of hard for me to really sympathize, to have sympathy for these Lei nerfs. Because unless you're telling me that they removed the counter hit launch ability of back four, or they made back four like -12 or something. If you're telling me something like that, fine. But I'm sorry, it's hard for me to have sympathy, and if that results in me having a thumbs down on the video, and if you are a subscriber that's a Lei main and you just leave, I guess I'll know why. But tell me when I'm telling lies. Lei has had one of the most bullshit panic moves ever in Tekken, and you can line that up with even a move like Yoshi Flash, another bullshit move. When I saw the patch notes, and they're saying that, oh, well, we just decided to give Yoshimitsu a few more recovery frames. And then when they put it, it's funny, I don't know if you watched it, but when I watched what they decided to do, and I'm like, who in the fuck is going to have the timing to punish that? A robot? Like, that shit still looks fast as fuck. Like, and then the same thing with King. I'm going in on this video. People ain't gonna like this shit. When I look at King and how brain dead that character is, that fucking the armor move where he's doing the armor and he could take damage. First of all, I already know that Namco specifically wanted King to be the way he is. They probably have a lot of wrestling fans over there at Namco Bandai, but the audacity to actually say and package the muscle armor as a nerf because he had a few more frames of animation, that was absolute horse shit. That move looks exactly the fucking same as far as I'm concerned. And another thing, that armor move and then he does the right punch, armor 2, still safe. Why is that move safe? So basically you could do armor 2, block. Doesn't matter, it's safe anyway. All those fucking stupid running moves he has. Now we buff that. Well, now he's a fucking track star now. He's a wrestler, right? A typical, hulking wrestler. Now he's a fucking luchador. Now he's a fucking track star. Like, get the fuck out of here. All the moves from the stance is safe. So I say this in a ranty, maybe sad, entertaining way to say that this is precisely what they wanted to do with that character. This is not done by accident. They wanted King to be brain dead, bullshit, broken. This is what they wanted. They wanted Jin the whole time to have that 2-1-4 mindless bullshit that you just do 2-1, 2-1, 2-1. Oh, you mash? Oh, good. 2-1-4. Count it, down 2. Fuck out of here. Like, this is what they wanted. So, to throw the community a bone, they finally, after a fucking year, decide to make that mindless ass string -10 finally. But then it's like, you know what? We're gonna buff King. Why? So I say all of this to say that when you give characters these tools, the frame data for them to mindlessly do the things that they're going to do, this is 100% aimed to the low-level casual, the player that just wants to press buttons because they can press buttons without the fear of significant retaliation. That is why. You can, like for instance, if I were to, I'll name drop him right now. If I were to play Little Majin right now, who I haven't played in many, many years, if I were to play him right fucking now, I can guarantee that the majority of my losses to him will be based on the bullshit that the character itself has and not so much him, the player. Because there will be moves that I will block, I will defend against, and I'm just using this as an example because everybody knows Lil Majin. He's a godlike player, but I can block a certain thing from King, but I will get no fucking reward for it. So he's free to just do it again, and eventually it's gonna land. I'm not perfect. So now if the character had actual real weaknesses that, okay, I can get rewarded for my defensive reads, then that's different. But anytime you have a fucking character that can literally down forward 2, oh, I'm gonna wait and see if you press. Oh, good, do down forward 2-1, free fucking combo, and both the hits are safe. And then you want to say, oh well, you could just duck the high. Fuck out, and who's gonna? So I have to do that. I have to do that extra work to defend against a move that you could just mindlessly throw out at the drop of a dime. Get the fuck out of here. And not to mention that if you're good enough, you can just keep doing down forward 2, down forward 2. And you can get good enough visually to see, oh, it landed on counted because you can delay, you can have a wait and see approach. First of all, if you're going to have, in terms of proper game design, if you're going to have a move that does that, you do not allow the player to delay it. You have the player, they have to commit to it. There is a commitment. You don't give them the move, a 2-strike move where both strikes are safe on block, and it's a counter hit launcher, and you can delay and wait and see, ooh, did it work? Did it land? Fuck out of here. That's not what you do. But they did it in this game because they want this game to appeal to low-level scrubs and casuals. And I say that with the utmost respect, as that might sound strange, because the low-level casuals are, in fact, and I will say this officially, are the lifeblood of any competitive game. Because from those low-level casuals, those low-level scrubs, it is very possible, depending on their own desire and their want to get better at the game, learn the game, they will ascend the ranks like a Tekken ranked online play. They'll level up, and they may at some point become the next little Majin, the next fighting GM, the next fucking Arslan Ash, the next Knee, and so on and so forth. But everybody, basically, as the old saying goes, everybody starts at 0 or starts at 1. And then whether you stay there is up to you. But what Namco, again, decided to do was, you know something, we're going to open this up to as many casuals. We're going to dumb the game down so we can bring in as many people. We're going to leverage the guest characters from other franchises to get those audiences on board with the game of Tekken. We're going to make the practice mode, have it with a whole bevy, a litany of practice options. We're going to have simplified controls so the player can just jump right in, press a button, do a basic combo, and that's it. Like, we have the heat system, we have the rage system. All of these, the comeback mechanics, are designed for the low-level casual player. And to be quite honest, from a business standpoint, it makes sense. It is how you are going to maximize your return on investment from all of the money that Namco decided to put into Tekken 7. And, and the money that came out of Tekken 7 literally gave rise and birth to Tekken 8 as we know it. So it definitely does not surprise me that Tekken 8 has taken this turn. This was an epic rant. I talked some shit. I'm pretty sure I'm probably going to rub some people the wrong way. I don't expect much views from this video. But then again, I didn't expect a lot of views from the other video. So I don't know. Time will tell. I'm going to try to figure out what I'm going to title this. But I'm going to get some water. My mouth is dry from talking. Maybe I'll do another video where I'm a little bit more reserved. But this, I just had a lot of stress to get off my chest, like breast reduction. And I think I'm going to leave it off right there. Hopefully, if this was interesting, hopefully I earned your subscription. Best believe I will have more content. And also, I do other content than just Tekken. So give that other content a chance as well. Personally, I would like to wait for more newsworthy content for Tekken, like maybe when the patch finally drops or something of that nature. Because it just seems to me that the majority of the stuff that I'm seeing online right now are just people that's ranting like I am. They may drop a few nuggets of information, good on them, but I just don't see nothing really newsworthy. Unless I'm hearing that Michael Murray quit or got fired or something like that, or something of like that's news. This is just more like an opinion piece. It's a rant video. Hopefully, at the very least, you were entertained. Anyway, I'm out of here. Take care. Peace.